Radio check, we should be live. Thank you everyone for tuning in and welcome along to the coverage here in Shanghai. We are 30 minutes away from the start of qualifying. We've had a very exciting sprint race a few hours ago and the dust has settled and we've had, a lot to talk about really, What did you guys think of the sprint race? What would you give it a score out of 10? I personally would give it we did have quite a lot of battles at the front, right? And then I've sort of got to give it an 8 or a 9. Like it was pretty good. Like, yeah, sure. Obviously, if you're a Verstappen fan, your favorite driver is not going to be there at the top, but in terms of the battling, I think a lot of people, it was quite exciting, to be fair. So, it did seem a little predictable, but, it was always the same sort of thing happening. Russell would get the overtake done into 14, Hamilton would re-overtake him into turn 1, but it was still pretty exciting, I would say. So, yeah. Artificial overtakes. Well, the thing with artificial overtakes, right, is when DRS was first introduced in 2011, I think, or maybe 2012, when it was first introduced, Niki Lauda, one of the most prominent, well-respected figures in Formula 1, was saying, DRS is very artificial, and it's the most stupid rule in F1, and they're probably going to get rid of it after a few races. And, DRS stuck around, and we very much, were very fine with DRS and nobody really called it that artificial. We sort of just, this is a fact of how Formula 1 works. We have dirty air, we combat it with DRS. So I think it's just another evolution. I'm not particularly pleased about it, with the whole battery recharge situation, but it's sort of, it's helped the racing, hasn't it? Nobody 2073 $2 donation. Thanks for the donation, buddy. I see Mercedes is winning now. Why is that? Why is that? They have got the best power management, basically. They can manage their car really well and manage the battery. So when the other teams don't have battery deploy, Mercedes have still got an extra 10%, an extra 5% to deploy down the straight, and that gives them that edge over the top speed. And, this was the comparison that I was looking for before the sprint race. And when we looked at sprint quali, Lando Norris lost 3/10 of a second to George Russell just down this 1.2 kilometer long straight. So Russell did a lot of recharging in towards turn number 11 and then deployed a lot of his battery on the exit of turn 13 for the entire length of the straight and gained 3/10 over the McLaren, who's got the exact same Mercedes power unit, right? It's not like they can give them a slower version of it. They have to give the exact same parts, and McLaren are the one they have to figure out when to charge it with the battery, when to not charge the battery. McLaren haven't done it as well as Mercedes. Let's see. Giving the fans overtakes for the sake of overtakes isn't good racing. People want to see the drivers using actual skill to overtake, not managing a battery. You do make a good point there, Stephen. But yeah, I was thinking about this, and the way that they've gone about doing it in the 2026 regs is a little bit backwards, I think. There were definitely many other solutions that could have been used to improve the racing, but those were not opted to be done, and we've just got what we have right now as a bit of a stopgap solution, which isn't great, to be honest. So yeah, but I don't know. I guess it's up to each of them own really to decide, right? Managing the battery is also a skill if you think about it clearly. It is a skill, but it's a question of do we want that to be the skill that is tested in Formula 1, right? Like in Formula 1, do we want the drivers to be driving on the edge of physics to balance the cars on the limit of grip, or do we want the drivers to be trying to charge up the battery most efficiently, right? So it is yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Are the teams limited to the same battery capacity? That is correct. So the teams have a certain amount that they can go from 100% to 0%, and that's a limited amount of energy. And yeah, that's essentially what they're doing. F1 Gamer, it's also worth considering that, however annoying the battery management is, it does make some pretty sizey overtakes because the drivers control the deployment. Yeah, so it does have, it does have its pros and cons, and I guess it's for each to your own to sort of decide of your own opinion of it, if you think it's the way Formula One should go or it shouldn't. But yeah, it is the situation that we're in. There are potentially talks after the Chinese Grand Prix to change the rules ever so slightly to put less focus on the battery management and to put more focus on just all-out attack. So, that could switch it from about 50-50 to maybe 65-35. So a bit of an improvement, but it's, yeah, we will just have to wait and see. I think a lot of people also are a little bit disappointed in the fact that their favourite team isn't at the top. I think a lot of Red Bull fans and a lot of Williams fans, Aston Martin fans would have loved to be to see their drivers at the top, and I'm sure they wouldn't complain about the regulations if their favourite driver was in the lead of the race all the time. Because, to be honest, George Russell has topped FP1, he's topped SQ1, SQ2, SQ3, and the sprint race. And he also won the race in Australia, right? So it's... ads, let me block those adverts, apologies. So, yeah, that's sort of just how it's gone for now. But we'll see, I guess. We'll see. RF is not working out, bro. RF normally starts a little bit closer to the start of quali, so you're gonna have to wait, probably 10 minutes or so before the footage starts getting underway. Have they declared a replacement for the Bahrain and Saudi tracks? It doesn't look like we will be having any sort of replacements, to be honest. So yeah, so that's how it's going to go, basically. I think the TV contract says that there has to be a minimum of 22 races in the season, or maybe 21 races in the season, and because there's only 2 races being cancelled, it would go from 24 to 22. The TV contract is still getting fulfilled, and yeah, it's just going to be a lot of effort to organise all of this thing. So for that reason, it doesn't look like we are going to have any other replacement races, and it will probably be the whole of April is going to be without a race. Do you think proximity chat will make F1 better? Not really. I mean, yes, it would be cool for a little bit, but then I think it's just a little bit pointless because you'd have drivers trying to talk to other drivers when the drivers are trying to talk to their engineers. So it's just not really how it's going to be done. Don't you think the season can get extended later? Season getting extended later. It already runs pretty late into December, to be honest, and I think they have a mandated shutdown of because the 2027 calendar will already be in the works. They have to have a limited amount of days. There's a minimum amount of days that you have to have for the winter break. So if they extend the season any further, then they're going to be running into that time, which then will delay the 2027 season, I think. So, yeah, it's all a bit tight scheduled, really. But 22 races is still pretty good, right? Like if we go back a few short years, it was 18 races and 20 races, 19 races. So I think Formula One should be a mix of both testing the limits of what humanly and mechanically is possible, but also the elements of drivers to control to make it a mental and physical battle. That is correct. It's got to be a limit of both, right? Like Formula One is, again, it's not just a spec series, right? There is an engineering element to it. So when there is a team that comes up with an innovative solution that have got the best engineering package for their power unit and things like that, it is they're bound to win, right? Like that is what Formula One is about. It's not just the drivers, it's also the cars and the engineering behind them. Okay. Might as well declare the World Drivers' Championship, World Constructors' Championship. Well, it's a bit early to say that, right? You know, the Mercedes cars are going to have their regulations changed in the second half of the season, or the testing procedure is going to get changed. So maybe that'll change things. Maybe it won't. It's tough to say. It's tough to say. Have Red Bull make changes after the sprint? Yes, a lot of teams will be making changes because, to be frankly honest, one free practice session is not enough to make the car set up correctly, to have all of your optimizations done correctly. So for that reason, we will see a lot of teams make changes to their car, and yeah, the lap times will continue going downwards. Okay. What website am I using for stats? It's this thing called Multiviewer. You do have to pay for it. You have to pay for F1 TV to be able to use it. So that's what I use for the data. Yeah. All right. I will just put George Russell's lap time up. Actually, give me a second. George Russell got a 1:31.5 for pole position in the in sprint quali. Okay, there we go. So George Russell, we've got his time there of what he did. You guys barely complained about Max's dominance. Well, you know, my channel has got the videos back from 2023. So if you go back and watch the videos from 2023, you can definitely tell that not everyone was really fans of Max Verstappen's dominance, to be honest. Yeah. Did you sleep or did you stay up till now? No, I have stayed up. I've stayed up till I've stayed up from. It's been probably, I woke up at like midnight. So from midnight to 6:30 now. So yeah. But no, I've had a shower, I've had breakfast and everything, so not feeling too tired. Okay. 17 minutes till quali, really. There's not really too much more to discuss, to be honest. I think Bottas and Lindblad will be back out. They'll be driving. Same thing for Hulkenberg, because they had their few issues during the sprint quali, but they'll get those resolved, and then and so we'll have all 22 cars taking part in the normal qualifying. It'll be the same sort of. Bottom 6 get eliminated, and then a top 10 shootout. And this time it'll be all on soft tyres rather than just softs, rather than mediums for the first two sessions and then softs for the final session. So all soft tyres for today's quali. Where to watch quali? ORF? It is going to be on ORF, yes. I think the broadcast goes live in 6 minutes, F1 Gamer, do you think Max has any chance to get a podium this year? I mean, look, we'll see how the car does after the setup changes today, right? If Max can find himself up in 4th position after Red Bull make a bunch of setup changes, then I think that, yes, he could get a podium. But if it turns out that, even with all the setup changes and everything that they've done to make the car quicker, if it turns out that he's only going to end up in 9th position, I think it's unlikely. Can you tell us the story of the time you slept through the live stream? I mean, basically, I was on 2.5 hours sleep from the night before, because this was what, Australia, right? So we had FP1, FP2. I stayed up to commentate FP1, and then I couldn't sleep between commentating FP1 and FP2. So then I had basically no sleep up until 6:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. I think, and then I went to sleep at 6 a.m. like instantly fell asleep, but then woke up at 8:30 because I had some report to write, or I had some work to do, or something, right? Something like that. I woke up at 8:30 after 2.5 hours. And then, yeah, I was working on this report all day. So I was doing that. So I was pretty tired. And then, I had an exam that day as well, right? Yeah, I had an exam that day. So that's why I got up. Got up really early because I finished doing FP2, had the exam, which went pretty well, but then I was just totally and utterly exhausted. Met a friend also in the evening, then commentated FP3, and at that point it must have been like 48 hours with only 2 hours of sleep. So yeah, I went to sleep, I set 5 alarms, and I didn't wake up for any of them. So that's what happened there, but it is what it is. But did well in the exam, so that's all right. And pretty much everyone that missed the quali stream, there were apparently 3,000 people there that were just on the live chat, even though I wasn't live on the stream itself. There were 3,000 people just typing away, which was pretty cool. Okay. Can you show the battery levels? Unfortunately, I cannot show the battery levels. I do not have access to those. I would love to have access to the battery levels, but yeah, we don't have that. So. What seems to be the actual issue with the Red Bull? Like, is it the battery or overheating? It seems to be, firstly, they're pretty bad on their tyres, and secondly, their setup was just totally wrong in FP1, and then they went and messed it up even further after FP1. So Max got in the car for sprint quali, and it was just terrible. So yeah, they will now go in the other direction. They'll try and get something fixed, and if they can get it fixed, then maybe Max will do better. Yeah, we were spamming wake up. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, it is. It's good to see we still had that many people still on the live chat. Hello, Mr. Trolling. Oh, it looks like a verified YouTuber. That's pretty cool. Will you be commentating for the next week's Nürburgring on Sunday? Max is competing. Next week? I don't know what I'm doing next week, to be fair. So I'll have to see. But I might be on a train going somewhere. Max is taking part in the Nürburgring next week? I thought it was like in 2 or 3 months' time. Yeah. Everyone, Gamer, what's your thoughts on Hadjar? Why was he dropping too many positions? Hadjar dropped quite a few positions because he was out on soft tyres. That was his big issue, really. Yeah, that is. He just shouldn't have been out on the softs, really, especially knowing that the Red Bull chews through its tyres. Track temperature was up at 30 degrees Celsius as well at the start. Oh no, track temperature was relatively low, at the start of the sprint. But even then, it wasn't going to be ideal for Isaac Hadjar. And, well, yeah, that's why he dropped a bunch of places. A verified YouTuber, are they taking over access policies? No. I'm pretty sure I'm verified as well. If you just scroll down, there'll be a little tick next to my name, I think, which just says I'm verified. All right. What are you going to do in April with the Bahrain and Saudi Grand Prix cancelled? I'm probably going to be studying for my final engineering exams. Yeah. So there'll be a lot of studying to do. So there'll be that. I'll probably put some videos out as well because I'll be free on the weekends. But yeah. We need an Indian driver. Yeah, well, we have Arvin Lindblad, right? So Arvin Lindblad is at least half Indian, I think. So that is pretty good. I know a few people in the chat were asking as well. I'm also from India. I was born in Mumbai, but I moved to the UK when I was pretty young, given, hence you can tell sort of my accent and all of these things, that speak English pretty well. And yeah, I'm still in the UK. You were that tired that day and still remember that much. I don't even remember what I had for breakfast. Well, I I was sort of trying to figure out how come I slept through an alarm, because I never sleep through alarms. Like, that's why I was so surprised that I'd actually slept through the alarm, because I've never done that before. So I went to the shops that day and I went and bought an alarm immediately. So this alarm is my backup alarm, and I've got it set up so it goes off 5 minutes before the live streams are meant to start, and it's like a siren basically. It's pretty dang loud, but it's a backup, so I'm not waking up the people that I'm living around. And yeah. Right. Anyway, we have got 8 minutes and 50 seconds left to go. Why is Anthony's race start bad every time? I'm not sure, actually. As I did put a video out, a little bit. I put a video out. When was it? Last week, and it was talking about what the drivers do in the formation lap. And Mercedes, both of the Mercedes last week in Australia had 0% battery when they were on the starting grid. Literally zero, nothing whatsoever. And well, that's clearly an issue, isn't it? Like 0% battery. Very, very big problem. And I think Antonelli will have had a similar issue where he had very, very low battery going onto the starting grid. Hence, then he can't do his burnouts because he hasn't got enough battery to get the wheels spun up. There is a potential solution to spinning up the wheels. If you stab at the steering wheel left and right, and then jab on the throttle as well, you can time it so you might be able to lose traction a bit. But still, it's pretty difficult to do, and to do reliably for 2 seconds to actually warm up the rears. Doing a little burnout is not really going to help you that much. So yeah, Antonelli probably, I suspect, had the same issue that he had in Australia, where his rear tyres weren't hot enough, and then he had to wait for everyone behind him to line up on the grid, right? They all had to wait Antonelli, because he was at the front, he had to wait for the remaining 15, 20 cars to line up on the grid behind him, and by the time that had happened, his rear tyres would cool down even further, at which point he tries to get off the line and gets wheel spin, and then also has no battery, and then loses positions. So, they will try and come up with a solution, but Mercedes didn't really get much practice, right? So, because they didn't get much practice, they haven't been able to diagnose this issue and been able to fix it effectively, right? Yeah. What is my real name? My real name is Larry. That's definitely what it says on my passport. Mm-hmm. Any updates on the Bahrain and Saudi Grand Prix? It seems like they're cancelled. They haven't been officially confirmed, but I think Sky Sports have said they're pretty much confirmed. Pretty much cancelled, sorry. Yeah. What if the driver does a burn up right at the start of the formation lap? Well, at that point you will warm up your tires. The point of the burnout, right, is to warm up the outside of your tire. So then, when you're waiting for the previous 20 cars behind you to line up on the grid, your tires, when they reduce in temperature, they actually reduce to the optimal temperature. So let's say the optimal temperature is 95 degrees Celsius. When you do your burnout, you'll bring them right up to 120 degrees, and then by the time they cool back down again, because you're waiting for everyone behind you, they're at 95 degrees for when you do your race start. But if you do your burnouts right at the start, you're going to overheat them, and then they're not going to stay hot for the entire formation lap, because you've got to drive slowly a little bit. You can't go at full speed, so they'll just cool back down again. So doing the burnouts at the start of the formation lap is not a very effective solution. Right. Do you think any of the Ferraris can overcome the Mercedes in quali? Well, look, they have got the telemetry data from the quali, and they know where Mercedes was deploying their battery. They know how long they were deploying the battery, and because of that, they can try and replicate it. They can try and copy what the Mercedes were doing, and we'll see. We'll see if basically something that we saw with the Mercedes specifically is that when they were going into turn number 11 here, they were super clipping down this straight. George Russell was specifically super clipping down this straight in towards turn number 11 on his fastest pole lap, and then he deployed all of his battery over down this straight. Ferrari and McLaren were not super clipping into this corner. So the question is now, will Ferrari try and copy Mercedes, or will they do their own thing? Because we know that Mercedes is the one that have got the best power unit management. So are they going to try and say, right, we're going to copy him, we're going to try and we're going to try and do some super clipping here, and then we're going to deploy all of the battery down the rest of the straight? All right. Lindblad out. Oh no, this is the. I should probably put up the actual quali data. Give me a sec. I will just change this over to get rid of the other one. There we go. We have the quali data now. Everyone should be taking part. Is Ferrari better than McLaren? Well, yeah, they have scored more points than McLaren. They are doing a bit better. F1 Gamer, what happened to Max's start in the sprint race? He moved too slow. I think he hit anti-stall, as far as I could tell. So he hit anti-stall going off the line. Not enough turbo, not enough revs on the turbo. Maybe dumped the clutch a little bit too quickly. I'm sure he'll give an interview at some point, but yeah, he will just say something like, "Oh my god, I hate these regulations. They're so stupid, etc., etc." And yeah, I anti-stalled, something like that. All right, we've got 4,000 people tuning in to live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you are enjoying the coverage. Be sure to hit the like button, and we'll be getting underway for Q1 in 2 minutes. Seems like they need a recon lap mode. Yes, it does seem like that, doesn't it? We will see if they do get a recon lap mode though. I always find it funny how you get asked every live stream what your name is, and you always say it in the same tone. Well, I don't know. There's not too many other ways to say the name Larry, so. How to watch it using Proton VPN. It is what you want to do is connect to an Austrian VPN server, and once you've connected to an Austrian VPN server, you want to go on to Google and search ORF, O for Oscar, R for Race, F for Ferrari, and then you type Formula 1 after that, and you click on the first link, and you'll be able to watch the coverage. Is there any hope for Ferrari this year? Do you think that they can cut the advantage of the Mercedes engine? Well, Ferrari, they do know how to build an engine, don't they? They are pretty dang good at it. In fact, they've made a whole car brand out of building good engines and putting them in some good-looking cars. So I think that yes, they'll be able to figure something out, and they'll be able to get the data. They'll be able to improve their car a little bit. Man, have you had your breakfast? I have. I've been up since midnight, and now the sun has started to come out. It's finally not cloudy for the first time in a while here in the UK, and I've had my breakfast. I've had a shower. It's good. Oh yeah, if you click the live button when ORF starts, then you actually get the most up-to-date feed of qualifying. Okay, let me get rid of this countdown timer, and we'll be getting underway for quali very, very soon. Why is Ferrari not using the 360 rear wing? It is because it's slower. That's why. Also, spamming in the chat saying I'm lagging 30 seconds from the actual data. The best way to solve that problem is you either pause the actual data to sync it up with me, or you pause me to sync it up with the actual data. I cannot be in sync for everyone in the world, right? This broadcast gets sent to Australia, it gets sent to South Africa, it gets sent to Brazil. Probably someone in Antarctica is also watching. So for that reason, the delay is not going to be the same for everyone, and you've got to do it yourself. Alright, let's get rid of YouTube chat off the screen. We've got the drivers making their way out onto the circuit. We've got Bottas out on the softs. We've got everyone else out on the softs apart from Hülkenberg, who's out onto medium tyres right now. I can confirm I'm watching from Antarctica. Sounds good. Is it cold out there? Or is it... Actually, what time of the year is it now? It's March, isn't it? Yeah, it's March. So isn't it like nighttime in Antarctica for like 6 months or something? Right now, I'm not sure. Anyway, we've also got Lindblad out on a set of medium tyres. Lawson is out onto the track as well. Do you think that Max will be on the podium? Well, look, asking me is not going to change the fact that if Max is going to be on the podium or not, and it looks unlikely, to say the least, that he will be on the podium, but he's out onto the circuit now with the set of medium tyres, and so is Isaac Hadjar. We'll see what he can do. Lawson, it's just jumps from soft to mediums there. Oh, sorry, from mediums to softs there for Lindblad on his set of data, so that's a bit interesting, but maybe that data will correct through for a few more people as well. Can I show the mini sectors? Oh yeah, apologies folks, I'm on the race mode. Let me just move over to quali mode. Okie dokes. So drivers making their way around for their first quali lap. Track temperature 32 degrees Celsius, wind speed 12.6 kilometers per hour, blowing from the northeasterly direction, so the drivers will be getting a bit of a tailwind going down the back straight. And air temperature 17.7 degrees Celsius. We have got a few quali laps beginning here. In fact, let's go on board with Arvin Lindblad in towards turn number 1. Very, very late on the brakes. Those front wing and rear wing folds upwards, and he makes his way through turn 1 quite nicely. Very, very smooth on the steering wheel. The car looks nice and planted. Very stable in the hands of Arvin Lindblad. A little twitch there, in fact, on the exit of turn number 4, but he manages to keep it pointing in the right direction. Now going towards turn number 6, his first sector looks pretty nice, a 25.1. Colapinto is going quicker than him, but not too shabby there from, actually Lindblad backs out of his lap. There we go, he's made a mistake through that corner. Colapinto, they're looking pretty good. Purple sector. He's getting a tow here off Gasly as well. You can see this. Look at this. Gasly just gets out of the way. The drivers are organising tows, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 1.2 kilometre long straight. You get 3/10 worth of lap time for free if you've got a driver ahead of you giving you a tow. And Franco Colapinto most certainly had someone ahead of him giving a tow. It was his teammate, in fact. Bottas comes across the line at 136.9. Colapinto comes across the line at nearly a full second quicker after getting a tow off his teammate. We've got only a few drivers out on medium tyres right now, and that is Isaac Hadjar, Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Purple first sector for Isaac Hadjar, quickly taken away by Charles Leclerc. Liam Lawson goes fastest in sector number 2, and Max's pace is not looking all that electric as of right now. Actually, scratch that. He might just go purple in sector 2. Yeah, he does. Alright, and Gasly goes purple in sector 1. Very nicely done. We have got Stroll up into third position. Oh my goodness me, that might be the highest Aston Martin get all season long. And next up on the quali, next up across the line is Arvin Lindblad. Fernando Alonso, second position. Not too bad from him. He's only 3.5 tenths back from Franco Colapinto. We've got Lawson up, who's 1.2 seconds clear. There we go. That's sort of the gaps that we were expecting. And he is a huge chunk ahead of Colapinto. Hadjar comes across the line 2 tenths quicker, but he's on medium tyres, of course. So expect, another 3/10 improvement when he switches on to the softs. Verstappen goes only 29 milliseconds quicker than Max Verstappen. And then Verstappen only goes 29 milliseconds quicker than Isaac Hadjar. So not too big of a gap there between the two teammates. And that is good to see, especially for Isaac Hadjar. Charles Leclerc splits the two for Red Bulls. He's on a used set of soft tyres, not a fresh set, but regardless, it's a good lap from him. Thanks for the donation there, Elite Hurricane 95. McLaren and Red Bull have a chance at after next race. Yeah, because after Suzuka, the teams all have a 1-month break, essentially, because we're not racing in Bahrain or Saudi. And a 1-month break is a long time to make some upgrades, to get new parts on the car and things like that. So that'll be good. All right, and wow, Gasly finds himself up in second position. Only 13 milliseconds back from Max. Again, Max on mediums, Gasly on softs. Norris also on used softs. He goes about a tenth quicker than Max Verstappen. So looks like the car's looking a bit better now, a bit better shape for the Red Bull team. Oscar Piastri goes 4 tenths quicker than his teammate Lando Norris, and that is P1 for Oscar Piastri as of this very moment. Nico Hülkenberg goes purple in sector number 2. I don't know how he's done that. He's gone purple in sector number 3 as well. Oh my goodness me. Great lap there by Nico Hülkenberg, but of course it is with a fresh set of soft tyres. The McLarens are on 10 lap old softs. Nico Hülkenberg, a fresh set of softs. Regardless, a very, very good lap from the German in the German car. And Bortoletto has also replicated his success. He's going about 2 tenths slower, but third position there for Gabriel Bortoletto. Alright, we've got 8,000 people tuned into the live stream. Hello everyone, hope you're all enjoying. Be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe. Much is appreciated. And yeah, I'll be commentating for the race tomorrow. I think the race actually starts in 24 hours time exactly. Let me have a look. Yeah, pretty much. Whatever time it is in the world for you guys right now, if you go back 7 minutes, that is when the race will be starting tomorrow. And I hope to see you there. All right. Let's see, actually, what can Sergio Perez do? He is making his way down the back straight here on a flying lap, very, very late onto the brakes. And the car is still a little bit twitchy, not the most stable thing in the world. Hamilton says it feels good, the car, but just has some snaps, particularly under braking. So that's, again, the rear locking thing that we were talking about. Still some more work to be done for Hamilton in that regard. We've got Sergio Perez coming across the line in 20th position, 3.5 seconds off the pace. Still some more work to do there in the Cadillac car. Yeah, what can I say, really? They're quite the ways back, but I think they'll figure it out soon enough. We've got one of the Mercedes starting a flying lap. That is Kimi Antonelli on a fresh set of soft tyres. And we also have George Russell doing the same. Oh, the yawns are really coming in strong now. Hadjar comes across the line in 4th position. Nicely done there from Isaac Hadjar. And Max Verstappen's also on a flying lap here on his second run, as far as I can tell, on a set of medium tyres. What the blue and the yellow squares mean? Blue means the drivers have driven into the pit lane. Yellow means slower than personal best. Green means quicker than personal best. And purple means fastest out of any driver. So as you can see there at the bottom of the screen, George Russell, he is... he's purple in Sector 1. fastest out of everyone. In fact, he is, just look at the gap from, if you look down below me, you can see Russell 24.2 in sector number 1, Piastri 24.5, just 3/10 up in the first sector alone. Kimi Antonelli purple in sector number 2, 28.0, that's 2/10 quicker than whatever Hulkenberg could do, and Russell is about half a tenth back from Antonelli in sector 2. Okay, Colapinto comes across the line, 4th position for him. Fresh set of soft tyres, nicely done from Colapinto. Next up across the line is Arvin Lindblad, currently in 13th position. He resides. He hasn't done that many laps of the Shanghai International Circuit. He's got his practice session cut short and he fails to improve on this lap. Antonelli comes across the line, 7/10 clear, and P1 for Antonelli. We'll see what happens to George Russell when he comes across the line. We got Hulkenberg to come across the line, but not to improve actually. Marginally slower, but a purple final sector regardless for Nico Hulkenberg. George Russell improves. He goes half a tenth up on Kimi Antonelli, and that is a 1-2 again for the Mercedes team. We have got Fernando Alonso, who is on a flying lap. So is Lance Stroll. Let's see what Lance Stroll can do. Stroll, 20th position. Fernando Alonso, can he do any better? Yes, he can. I mean, look, the Aston Martins aren't quick, and by no definition am I calling them quick, but how is Alonso going an entire second faster than Stroll? Stroll just did a 36.4. Alonso did a 35.4, an entire second. Wow. 6 drivers get eliminated in Q1, so that will be from 17th position down, so 17th, 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st and 22nd. Hamilton is currently in the drop zone. I don't expect he's going to be staying in that drop zone any longer. He's driving that Ferrari, which is a bit of a rocket ship as of right now, especially on a fresh set of soft tyres. And, well, here comes Lewis Hamilton in towards turn number 14. And the final corner, turn number 16, stays well within the gravel trap, and that is third position, sorry, not 3/10, 2.5 tenths to George Russell, but 3rd position, and he is definitely getting closer, I can tell you that for certain. Alrighty. Not bad, yeah. Hamilton got a little toe. He did a small little toe. Still, of course, you know, when you can gain a little bit from the toe, but still, it's not a huge margin, especially compared to if you're mismanaging your battery. Alright, Liam Lawson up into 6th position, not too shabby there from Liam Lawson, splitting the 2 Audis actually, and currently in the drop zone we have got the 2 Williams, the 2 Aston Martins, the 2 Cadillacs. That's what it was in sprint quali. Will it be the same in normal qualifying? Issue for Lindblad, have we? No. Gasly, oh my goodness me, 4th position there for Pierre Gasly. That is some very, very good running there from the Frenchman. And I must say, it is 6th. Look at the gap, though, between 3rd and 4th position. You know, the top 3 are relatively close, and then there's just this huge gaping hole between 3rd and 4th. Well, that's now just gone between 4th and 5th because Norris finds himself up in 4th position now, about 13 milliseconds slower than Lewis Hamilton. Charles Leclerc, in fact, just goes to the top of the timings, 87 milliseconds clear of George Russell, 1/10 up. A very, very good lap there from Charles Leclerc. And again, I'd like to point out a fresh set of soft tyres for both of them. It's not just one of the drivers had a fresh set, the other driver had a used set. Both drivers had a fresh set of tyres. I do want to see, actually, is Ferrari sort of learning from what Mercedes did, because Mercedes were clipping into turn 11, and, well, if Ferrari doing the same thing, and then they can, well, if they can go toe-to-toe for pole position, that would be very, very exciting indeed, I can tell you that one. Fernando Alonso is really clogging up the radio waves here. He's all of the radio waves are from Fernando Alonso about turns number 6 and 11 and what gears he's using and where he's doing lifting off. Oh, Ollie Behrman, 7th position, ahead of his teammate Esteban Ocon. Very, very nicely done. There's still 3 minutes and 42 seconds left on the clock here, ladies and gentlemen. And the drop zone is still as it was before. 2 Williams, 2 Aston Martins, 2 Cadillacs. The drivers lose 24 seconds in the pit lane, so for the race tomorrow it's looking like it could be a one-stop race. Does the Ferrari have the Macarena wing? No, it does not. No, it does not. Right, tomorrow's going to be medium to hard. Yeah, probably. It's a relatively straightforward strategy. Verstappen has been told to go. I think he figured it out after probably the third go there, but yeah, they're telling him quite a few times over the radio. I guess he needs to exit the pit lane at a proper time to make sure that he can still get a tow when he's coming around to do his quali lap. But currently 14th and 15th position for the 2 Red Bull cars. Not looking so great, but their previous laps were on used soft, so let's wait and see. This was supposed to be the year of the Williams. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. I thought this year was going to be the year for the Williams team. If we do look at the gaps, right, Williams is reportedly, 10 kilograms overweight, which could be costing them up to, I think, maybe 0.7 of a second per lap. So, if you get rid of that, if you get rid of the weight, then that could put them in contention of being near the top. But yeah, it's still a long way to go for the Williams team. Also, the Williams have to figure out, I don't think the Williams have figured out the engine tricks that Mercedes and McLaren have now started to figure out. Mercedes are, of course, the experts at it. McLaren have started to figure them out. They've still not perfected them. But I think Alpine and Williams are still yet to figure those out. So there's still more lap time left on the board for the Williams team. And it should be, given the fact that McLaren have been able to find this over the course of 1 week, I suspect that Williams, probably by Suzuka, if not by Suzuka, then by the race after that, they will be all good and they'll get those engines the engine side of things at least sorted out. Okay, folks, so there are 55 seconds remaining of Q1 and we have got the drivers on their final laps. Albon improves up into 16th position, not too bad there from him, and doesn't look like Lindblad had a issue because he's made his way out onto the racetrack right now and he's on a flying lap. Okay. Max's steering locks look so erratic, the car doesn't seem set up correctly. Really? Well, Hadjar finds himself up in 7th position. He's about 0.4 off Charles Leclerc. We'll see what Max can do. He's 2.5 tenths back. I don't know. Maybe there's still some more lap time available for the Red Bull car, but seems like a relatively good lap to me. Even if he does have to stab at the steering wheel, right? Carlos Sainz improves, 14th position, pretty good. Checkered flag is out, folks. Checkered flag is out. And Gasly now comes across the line, stays in 10th position. Then we've got Arvin Lindblad, who is currently in the drop zone. Will he be able to make it out of Q1? Yes, he will. 11th position for Arvin Lindblad. Next up is Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin. He comes across the line, he does not improve, and he is still more than half a second slower than Fernando Alonso. In fact, make that 0.8 slower than Fernando Alonso. Franco Colapinto improves, 9th position for him. In fact, goes ahead of Pierre Gasly. Big surprise there from Franco Colapinto. Gabriel Bortoleto improves up into 7th position. And currently in our drop zone, we have got the 2 Williams. The 2 Aston Martins have been confirmed. Sergio Perez comes all across the line to confirm the 5th driver in the drop zone. And now we are just waiting for Valtteri Bottas to come across the line. Here he comes. what's it going to be for Valtteri Bottas? The car is it's looking alright. It looks a little slow, really, and that is because it is. And 20th position there for Valtteri Bottas. So there we go, folks. We have the same 6 drivers eliminated out of Q1 from Sprint Quali. So you've just got, well, yeah, you've just got the same drivers. So great. Carlos Sainz gets eliminated. Perez slower than the Aston Martin. Albon comes over the radio saying terrible. I don't know what's that referring to, but that might be his lap because he's about 4 tenths down on his teammate. Do you think the performance gaps across the teams will be closer with Bahrain and Saudi being off the calendar? I think what will happen is the teams will get close together, but it won't be all of the teams get close together. I think there'll be 2 separate bunches. There'll be the midfield teams that all get close, and there'll be the top teams that all get close. So that is what I think is going to happen. When is Q2? I'll pop a timer up on the screen, folks. It's not going to be too long. As far as I know, it's going to be in 4 minutes and 26 seconds. Let me just change that from QUALI to Q2. Okay. What is Max saying over the radio? Bibal, Offset, they talk about the brake balance, and then they're saying it sucks. The traffic I'm on, by the way. So, well, clearly not very happy with the car setup still, but now the cars have entered Parc Ferme, so the only thing that he is allowed really to change is the front wing angle and a bit of the differential stuff, and also the brake balance. But that is all he's allowed to change now that Parc Ferme rules have been enforced. Max is always mad at the car, but now it's even worse because the car is actually horrible. Well, yeah, I mean, none of the drivers are ever too happy about the car being slow. How do I watch it live? To watch the race live, what you do is you go into the description. There is a link to Proton VPN, and then you join an Austrian VPN server. You go onto Google, you search ORF, and that's how you watch the Formula 1 coverage live. Yeah. Okie dokes. F1 Gamer, when does Parc Ferme start and end? Parc Ferme starts as soon as qualifying begins, and it ends after the race finishes. Yeah. Also, folks, this is the first session since FP3 Australia that George Russell hasn't come top in. George Russell came top in FP3 Australia. He came top in Q1, Q2, Q3, the race, then FP1, then SQ1, SQ2, SQ3, and the sprint race. And this is the first qualifying. This is the first session since FP3 in Australia. George Russell hasn't been top of the session. Yeah. So now recommending Proton instead of Surfshark. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Proton are the ones that are sponsoring me for this season, for the whole of 2026. So that's why I'm advertising them. George was on used softs. These don't look like used softs to me, mate. They are 3 laps old, just like Charles Leclerc's softs, just like Max Verstappen's, just like Hamilton's, just like Norris's. Same for Bortoleto and Piastri. They're all out on a fresh set of soft tyres. If they did 5 laps or 6 laps on those tyres, then they did 2 laps on a single run, like they came out of the pits with 2 laps worth of fuel on the car. But yeah, if there's 3 there, it was a fresh set for all of them. Did George get a Grand Slam yet? Not yet, I don't think. Alrighty. Got a lot of people spamming in the chat today. Okie dokes. Yeah, Liam Lawson getting coached over a little bit on which corners he needs to improve at. You can see there, the last team radio says 6 laps before you applied less brake pressure, so they're telling him to just brake less into the corners, carry a bit more speed. Right. Oh yeah, let's just pop slow mode on. Also, Q2 is... Oh, folks, Q2 is getting away in 1 extra minute. Okay, I'm not going to update the countdown timer, but... Oh, actually, never mind. There we go. The session started. Antonelli's out onto the racetrack right now. Very nice, very nice. Here we go then. What is GR63? GR63 is George Russell 63, and that is his quickest lap that he set in sprint quali yesterday. So he set a 1:31.5, and it's just a bit of a reference point for the lap times that we're seeing today. What is clipping? Clipping is when the car is going down a straight. So, for example, it is going down this straight here, and the drivers are still on full throttle, but the car is slowing down. That is what clipping is. Okay. So here we go then, folks. Here we go. Q2 is underway, and some drivers are out on used soft tyres, some drivers are out on fresh tyres. So you can see here, if they come out with tyres that have a slash through them, that means they are a used set of tyres. So you can see that Leclerc, Russell, Antonelli, they're all out on a used set of softs. Max Verstappen seems to be out on a fresh set of soft tyres. That is because he used mediums in his first run in Q1 to just, get a bit of a rhythm going, and now he's on the soft tyres, so he's got 1 extra spare fresh set, which he's using right now. What was Lash's pole time? Lash's pole time, I don't know. I actually don't know, but I think it was quite a bit quicker, to be honest. 2025 China pole time. Let me just Google it. I mean, a lot of these questions, to be fair, can just be Googled rather than asking me, because as much as I know about Formula One, I'm not a full-on expert. Well, I guess I'm reasonably well knowledgeable, but I don't memorize everything. Piastri was about a second quicker. Yeah, 1:30.6 from Piastri last year. Okie dokes, we got Russell now on a flying lap. Look at that first sector, 24.0. Charles Leclerc, 2 tenths lower in the... Well, not even 2 tenths lower, just about a tenth lower in the first sector. So pretty good going there from Charles Leclerc. And we'll see what he can hold through the second sector, turns number 7 and 8. Very, very high speed. George Russell also doing quite brilliantly through there. And we've got Antonelli now making his way down onto the main straight. Big old rear wing flap open and purple in sector 2, not for long obviously. Charles Leclerc actually takes that away from Antonelli and from Russell. And, well, here comes Kimi Antonelli out of the shadow of the grandstand into the final corner and comes across the line now. It is a 1:32.9 from Kimi Antonelli. We have then got George Russell now coming across the line on a used set of soft tyres to go a 1:32.5. So he's about a second slower than yesterday, but he is also on a used set of tyres. Now we've got Lewis Hamilton, who goes purple in the middle sector, quicker than Charles Leclerc as well, actually. And Leclerc is second fastest, splits the 2 Mercedes, and is about 3 tenths down on George Russell. What can Lewis Hamilton do? This is one of his better racetracks, and he goes about half a tenth clear of Charles Leclerc. Very nicely done. And we've got Isaac Hadjar into 5th position, not too shabby, but he is 4 tenths slower than Kimi Antonelli, which isn't great. Okie dokes. Hadjar above Max. Well, you know, Max has not set a lap yet, and just as he does, he goes ahead of Isaac Hadjar. So, there you go, folks. 2/10 is the gap between Isaac Hadjar and Max Verstappen, and Lando Norris is about a tenth quicker than Oscar Piastri. Hülkenberg comes across the line, 9th position for him, and it seems like the Red Bulls have picked up their pace a little bit, not obviously all the way to the front of the grid, but they've picked up their pace, which now means that they have to... Well, we're going to have the top 8 positions nearly decided by default, and then what we're really seeing now is who can get through into those bottom 2 9th and 10th positions. Actually, scratch that, because Ollie Behrman has just put himself up into 6th position. It is, of course, on a fresh set of soft tyres. The other drivers did their laps on used sets, but there is still some lap time to be found, especially for the Haas car. It's looking pretty good. What time is the race on? So wherever you are in the world right now, if you go back half an hour to what time it is right now, that is the time when the race is starting tomorrow. So for here in the UK, it'll be starting at 7 a.m. Got the VPN, what do I do next? The next step is to connect to an Austrian VPN server, and once you have done that, you go onto Google, you search ORF. Okay. Colapinto and Gasly still on their flying laps here, and yeah, I mean, this is interesting. We can see that Colapinto clearly deploying a lot of battery on the start-finish straight, because he's got his battery in the pink over here. Sorry, he's got his sector times in the purple over here, indicating that he's got a lot of pace at the start of the lap. Okay, there we go. It is 8th position. Not bad, not bad. Are there track limits for tyres this year? Yes, there are. Yes, they are. It's still defined by, you've got to stay within the white lines that the FIA have set. So, you know, that is that's how it goes. Okay, Lawson across the line, 14th position. So there you go, ladies and gents. We've had our first half of Q2. Everyone has set a lap. Not everyone has done it on a fresh set of soft tyres, but everyone has set a lap. And, well, this is our order. The drivers that will be getting eliminated are Hülkenberg, Ocon, Colapinto, Lawson, Lindblad and Bortoletto, if it stays like this, of course. And the 2 drivers that are not from the top teams that are up in the top 10 are Ollie Behrman and Pierre Gasly. Is Piastri going to get knocked out? Well, he did his lap on a used set of softs, so I suspect when he does it on a fresh set of soft tyres, he'll probably go quicker than Hadjar, probably also go quicker than Gasly, and yeah, we'll make it through. Look at this, they've just gone over the radio to Pierre Gasly to say, okay mate, we've got the deployment strategy, we've got that lap. So they're going to try and do the same thing again with the deployment strategy. Look at, oh my god, yeah, look, they've just said to Gasly, that lift into 11 was 50 meters, that was good, we want the same again please. So they are copying what Mercedes did, because George Russell was lifting, or he was super clipping, whatever he was doing in towards turn number 11, was recharging the battery. But that is confirmed that the drivers are lifting during quali laps to recharge the battery. I mean, oh my god, guys, oh my god, lifting on a quali lap, really? All right. 22 drivers, so 6 and 6 get eliminated. That is correct. Yo mate, can't play RF with a VPN, says it can't be played. Well, I would suggest then trying connecting to a Swiss VPN server and then searching SRF, and you can try it there. That should also work. Formula battery. All right, 5 minutes left on the clock. Piastri, Leclerc, Hamilton, Norris out on a fresh set of softs, all 4 of them. And, well, folks, can you let me know, who do you think is going to be the quickest out of these drivers when they do their laps? Is it going to be Hamilton? Is it going to be Leclerc? Are the McLaren's going to surprise us? Or will it be... Yeah, or will it be the Ferraris? They tell Hamilton to stay within 10 car lengths. Interesting. Don't know why he would want to stay within 10 car lengths, unless Leclerc is planning to give Hamilton a tow, but they're both making it through into Q3, so there's no need to give each other a tow. Really appreciate these live commentaries. Well, thanks, Lloyd Smith. Much appreciated. I mean, thanks to everyone that's listening in. We've got, what, 15,000 people nearly listening in, so much appreciated, folks. Hope you are enjoying. And the Belgian RTBF stream also works great. Yeah, it's pretty good. The Belgian one, I think, is only live for the races. I think SRF is live for quali and the races. And ORF, the Austrian stuff, is live for the practice sessions as well. All right, Charles Leclerc, purple in Sector 1 by about half a tenth compared to George Russell. Good to see. Improving in all of the sectors. We got Piastri 1.5 tenths down on Russell as he enters the second sector, which isn't really that far back, to be honest, for Oscar Piastri. So pretty solid going there from the Aussie, who of course won here last year. He did. This was the start of his winning streak, so it was. I'm sure he's got some nice memories around this racetrack. All right, Leclerc, purple in Sector 2 as well. Wow, the Ferraris are looking good. Here comes Piastri, 5th position for him. He loses, oh my God, he loses 4.5 tenths to the Mercedes just in the final sector alone. The final sector is pretty much just a straight and a hairpin, and he loses 4.5 tenths, which is mental. Charles Leclerc improves and is now 37 milliseconds clear of George Russell. Nicely done from Charles there. Hamilton also improves, 3rd position for him. Top 3 within a tenth of a second of each other. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. They've just come over the radio to Hamilton saying we are P3, Charles is P1, 1 tenth faster. So they got some more work to do. All right. Mercedes deliberately making the drivers leave before McLaren every time to block them. Oh, really? Is that what they're doing? Sure. I'm not so sure. Nicholas Stolhurst, cheers by the way, great commentary. Well, glad you guys are enjoying. Glad I can sort of commentate on 2 hours of sleep, or yeah. This feels like F1 2018. It is pretty similar to 2018, I think, with the exception that McLaren are a lot closer. McLaren in 2018, they were with Renault and they were at the back of the field, but yeah, a lot quicker this year. But yeah, the McLaren's clearly not a threat to the Ferraris. They're about 4 tenths off, so they've got some more work to do. If you get that limited Sky Sports commentary gig, would it be possible for your moderators/supporters to do a data broadcast for your channel? Yeah, I mean, I would have it set it up. So I would give my password to my friends or something, and they would set up the stream just for the data. If I was to commentate if I was to present the Dutch Grand Prix with Sky Sports, but yeah, I still need to do that application. I was writing up the cover letter for it a little bit earlier on. All right, Kimi Antonelli improves and he goes half a tenth clear of Charles Leclerc. It's getting pretty close though, I've got to say. It's not like huge margins. It's getting decided by. Charles Leclerc is getting closer and closer. Thought Russell was on a flying lap. Well, Russell was going to be on a flying lap, but clearly backed out of it because his middle sector just wasn't that good. Verstappen improves. It's only 6th position for him, though. It's a fresh set of soft tyres. He was definitely on a clearly very hard push lap, and the best he could do was 6.5 tenths from Antonelli, which is a long way away. We've got a yellow flag, and that is going to ruin quite a few drivers' laps, actually. There's 30 seconds left on the clock, and the drivers currently in the drop zone are Hulkenberg, Ocon, Colapinto, Lawson, Lindblad and Bortoletto, and we've got a yellow flag out, and that is because one of the Audis has found themselves in the gravel as they go towards the pit lane, and that is the Audi of Bortoletto, which he has managed to get out the gravel. Unfortunately, he's done it very well. Unlike how Lewis did in 2007, beached it in the pit lane entry in China, but no, Bortoletto managed to get it going and find his way back into the pits, but that's it. That's him eliminated out of Q2, sorry. Jellyfire, thanks for the donation. Good morning, F1 Gamer. Tough season to be a Williams fan this year, but so glad to see Russell and Hamilton battling at the front. Yes, it is. It is good to see, and also the battling has been very close as well. It's not just been like they're going to battle for 1 lap, 2 laps, and then call it a day. It's been some pretty hard racing. All right. Alpine faster than the RB? No, genuinely they might be, especially in the hands of Pierre Gasly. They are doing a pretty good job. Norris improves up into 5th position, and 0 seconds remain on the clock now. First car to take the checkered flag, Pierre Gasly. So we got Gasly taking the flag. Okay, so we've got a few more drivers out that are still on flying laps, but it doesn't look like any of them are improving, to be honest. Yeah. Q3 is going to start in. That was the rear lockup actually from Bortoletto. It was nothing like Ed crashing as he was going into the pit lane. Rear lockup as he went through turn number 16 and then went straight off into the gravel trap. He managed to get away with it quite well actually, and not get significant damage to the car. Seems like the exact same Q1, 2, 3 as Australia. Wait, that might be correct. I of course didn't commentate Q3 in Australia, but as far as I can tell, is there any surprises apart from Max obviously getting eliminated in Q1 in Australia? Looks pretty similar to me. Okay, looks like they are. They're double checking the angles on the Mercedes front wings, and then they're going to be getting ready to go qualifying very shortly. So the drivers that we've got eliminated, ladies and gents, are Hulkenberg, Colapinto, Ocon, Lawson, Lindblad, and Bortoletto. So those are the 6 drivers that get eliminated in Q2. We've got the usual top 8 suspects, and then we have got Behrman and Ocon as our 2 sort of wild card entries into Q3. How long into Q3? Not long, folks. I'll just double check the timer, but it's probably going to be give me a sec here. 4 minutes and 53 seconds. Oh, did I say Ocon? Wait, what? Gasly and Behrman, that's what I meant. Yeah, brain is not braining. Yeah. Okie dokes. Gasly would be fuming. You confused this. Yeah. They do have quite a lot of history. The 2 Frenchmen. They've been driving with each other since their karting days, and they've got some bad blood, but they get on with it. Honestly, it would be good to go racing in France as well. Right, you got the Alpine team. You've got Hadjar, you've got Ocon, and you've got Gasly, right? Like, surely it makes sense to go have a race in France. You've got Paul Ricard, and you've also got Magny Cours, right? There's two pretty good racetracks where you could be watching the race or having Formula One. So yeah, Formula One need to make it happen, to be honest. Yeah, should have one in Germany. I mean, obviously you've got Mercedes, you've got Audi as well. So yeah, that would be good. But it's just how it is, isn't it? They could sub out Bahrain for France if they act fast enough. Yeah, the issue is that they just wouldn't get paid that much for subbing out to subbing into France, right? Like Paul Ricard, normally how it works is the racetrack pays Formula One to come there. So Spa or Bahrain or whichever racetrack it is, they pay Formula One to host the Formula One race. So then you've got to convince whoever's there at Paul Ricard to get Formula One back. And it'll be ridiculous sums of money. Like, it's up in the tens of millions that you have to pay for just one Formula One race, I think. I can't remember exactly, but it's quite a lot. Bless you, thanks, guys. Yeah, no, lots of sneezing, lots of blowing my nose, lots of lack of sleep. Anyway, 1 minute and 53 seconds remain, and we'll be getting the drivers. Oh no, Quali's Q3 is going to start in 44 seconds, not 1 minute and 44 seconds. I got that incorrect. For whatever reason, they've decided to increase the length of Q3 to 13 minutes instead of 12. I don't really see the point, but I guess it gives the teams a little bit more time to do 2 laps and do an in-lap, out-lap sort of procedure. And yeah, I guess the teams will take it. $71 million USD for Sepang Malaysia. Really? Yeah. Okay, then I think the value that Baku pay, I think Baku pay the most out of some of the countries or the racetracks. I think Baku pays upwards of 120 million USD or 130 million USD for one Formula One race, which is mental, to be honest. Because they pay Formula One to come there, and then they also got to organise the whole racetrack thing themselves. They got to pay the marshals, they got to do this and that. So, yeah. Anyway, Q3 is underway, and we've got the drivers making their way out onto the circuit. So, who is going to be getting pole position? Is it going to be the Mercedes once again? Is it going to be the Ferraris? It's looking very, very close. Ferrari have looked where Mercedes are deploying all of their power. They've realised what is the most optimal strategy to do, and it looks like they are implementing that. Now, who will have the edge? Because the optimal sort of battery deployment strategy has now been sort of leaked out to the whole world, and Ferrari are copying it pretty well, if I don't say so myself. Oh, we got double yellows there. What's that for? Someone stopped. Russell with issues. George Russell has got an issue. He has stopped, and yellow flag for George Russell. His GPS is broken, but at turn number 2, where you can see this little double yellow, on the exit of 2, just into turn 3, that is where George Russell has stopped the car. Oh, sorry, just before turn number 4. In fact, I'll just show you on the flying lap. Give me a sec. Russell has stopped the car just about here. Yeah, just about here. He stopped the car. We're looking at the replay here, but there's some sort of problem. Oh no, he's continuing on. His car's moving again, very, very slowly. Okay. Let's see then. Will he have to drive back to the pits? What sort of speeds is he doing? He's doing 99 kilometers per hour. Doesn't look like he's going over 100 actually. He may have a gearbox thing. If he's not going over 100, he might be stuck in a certain gear and can't rev any higher. It looks like he's just in first gear, and he hasn't shifted any higher than first gear. Okay, we'll keep our eye out on George Russell, but he is 90 kilometers per hour, 100 kilometers per hour, but still in first gear, not any higher. Gearbox issue. Well, there you go, folks. But he's making his way back to the pit lane. They're not going to be able to fix that in time, I don't think. Fixing the gearbox is usually quite the big task. And if he's tried to shift into second and it's not shifting, then I can't see what the team's going to be able to do. Maybe they can do a restart and that might help. But yeah, Antonelli gets out of the way. Russell gets out of the way for Antonelli. And through the first sector, Antonelli goes purple. He goes purple in the second sector as well. Oh my God. Yeah. But only by very, very small margins. He's literally like fractions of milliseconds quicker in first sector, fractions of milliseconds in the second sector as well. His third sector is looking extraordinarily good, and he comes across the line, and that is a 1:32.322 from Kimi Antonelli. Also, this is the other thing, ladies and gents. It is Wait, is Russell coming into the pits? He must have come into the pits. There's no way he's actually... Yeah, Russell's into the pits. I think the data's just glitched out a little bit because he's obviously not continuing on. This is the other thing with the reliability. The Mercedes powering it did have quite a lot of issues in pre-season testing. The Ferrari powering it, a lot less issues. So, even if Mercedes is the quickest car on the grid, they've also got to finish the race to score the points, and well, not that great of a sign right now. What are you saying about the battery deployment technique leak? Please explain. Basically, you can look at what speed the car is doing using the GPS information, and then you can figure out who is deploying the battery where. You don't need to look at the exact code that Mercedes has written to say, oh, I want to deploy battery here and I don't want to deploy battery there and all of that sort of stuff. You can just see what the final output is, and the final output is what speed the car is going down the straight at what time. And then the teams can try and replicate that. So then they can get their engineers starting to write some more code to try and replicate exactly what Mercedes were doing. And, well, then they will... and then they'll go out onto the track. Okay, yeah, George Russell in the pits. He is retired out of Q3. Lewis, yeah, the car's dancing about quite a bit for Lewis, and he is 0.3 back from Leclerc, and Leclerc is 0.3 back from Antonelli. Track temperature 29.9 degrees Celsius. The wind has died down a little bit, and Gasly comes across the line with a 1:34.0. What happens to Max at the sprint start? I think he hit anti-stall. Piastri and Norris both go quicker than Charles Leclerc. Oh my goodness me. Yeah, Piastri P2, Norris P3. There were definitely some people in the chat that were saying, oh, McLaren are not a threat whatsoever to Ferrari. And in fact, I also said that. And look how we've been proven wrong. Max Verstappen and Isaac Hadjar come across the line. They're a full second back from Kimi Antonelli. Hadjar, however, is very, very close to Max Verstappen, and he's doing a good job here at the start of the season. I think, has Russell got out of the car yet, or is he still sat in the car? Still sat in the car is George Russell, so they are still hoping that maybe he's going to come out. But they're doing some, clearly they're doing some sort of work in the garage right now for George Russell. What happened to Russell? Gearbox issue for George Russell. Kimi maiden pole. Has Kimi got pole position before? I don't think he has, right? Kimi Antonelli pole position. Pole position. Or did he get one in Miami? Oh yeah, he got one in he got it in sprint quali. Does that count? This is real qualifying. Okay, well, this is real qualifying, so it doesn't count. Okay. Gasly asks, is the wind decreasing? Oh no, they said to Russell, okay, please can you fire up the car? Look, folks, you can see there at the bottom right. Russell, okay, please can you fire up the car, George? So there you go. Russell, they're going to try restart the car, try shift through the gears. Okay, let's have a look. Russell, he's still in first gear as of right now. The teams can do this in the garage. They can just hold the clutch in and shift through all of the gears, check everything's working. But as of right now, it looks like Russell is just in first gear. Okay. Why is everyone in the pits? Because they're refueling the car and they're getting ready to go again. Okay, the Mercedes engineers are still there. They're still standing around. Let's see. Why do they come into the pits in a 12-minute quali? Because they only want to have one lap's worth of fuel. So they'll do a flying lap, 1 lap worth of fuel, and then come back into the pits, refuel again, and then go again because it's too light. It's too heavy, to have more fuel. And the age is how old their tyres are. So you can see Verstappen and Hadjar, they both did it on 6-lap old tyres. Everyone else did them on 3-lap old tyres. So yeah, Verstappen and Hadjar will have, when they put it on a fresh set at the end of Q3, they will go even closer and potentially get closer to Lewis Hamilton. New steering wheel for Russell. Okay. Well, we'll see if that works for him, because it's not the first time that doing a steering wheel swap has fixed some things. You know, you do a full reset and swap the steering wheel, and yeah. Okay. Possibly an electronic issue, yeah, potentially. I mean, it's tough to say, but Russell still in first gear, and Antonelli makes his way out onto the circuit now. Wait, have they got the wheels off the car? I think they've got the tyres off the car yet. So they've got, how much margin have they got? They've got about 1 minute, 1.5 minutes to. No, not even 1.5 minutes. They've got 1 minute. They've got 1 minute to figure out this issue, and if they can't figure it out and send it, then Russell's not getting his quali lap in. Look, Russell's coming over the radio. Sorry, I'm trying to fire up. So they're trying to start the car, but it's not starting up. We've got the Red Bulls coming out onto the circuit as well, and Okay, switch off. There we go, ladies and gents. That is it. Confirmed for George Russell. They've just told him to switch off, and it seems like that is the end of his qualifying. All right then. So who is going to get pole position? Kimi Antonelli looks to be the favourite in the fastest car on the grid. He's going to be right at the front of the pack, so slightly worse track conditions for him compared to everyone else, but the track is relatively rubbered in right now, and Antonelli holds the fastest first sector and the fastest second sector, and his teammate holds the fastest third sector, so that is pretty good. They're coming over the radio telling the drivers how to warm up their tyres. You're telling Pierre Gasly to warm up your tyres properly into turn number 11, lots of weaving, and then they're telling, Hadjar to disengage certain modes going in towards turn number 1. It is very, very technical, but the drivers have now got their foot flat to the floor, and Kimi Antonelli has begun his flying lap. Let's see what he can do. Through the first sector, he's got a few purple mini sectors to his name and also a green one as well. Here he is, and it is slower, but only by 10 milliseconds. It is still quicker than anything Charles Leclerc has done to this point so far. Then coming through turns number 6, 7 and 8, Lando Norris goes purple in sector number 1, and it's by a very small margin, but that is a good sector 1 there. Russell's out onto the track. Oh, they might just be able to get him out. How have they got Russell out onto the track? After telling him to switch off, he's switched the car back on again, and if he rushes, he might just be able to get another lap in. Okay, this is gonna be tight for Russell. Actually, I don't think it'll be tight. I think he'll make it out. Antonelli purple sector 2, and then we have got Leclerc purple sector 2 actually takes it away from Antonelli. All right, here comes Kimi Antonelli then coming across the line, currently on provisional pole position. He has never got a pole position before in actual qualifying, and he comes out of turn number 16 now. His foot is flat to the floor. Can he improve? Yes, he can. He is half a second clear of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris's previous laps. Here comes Lando Norris now. He's purple sector 1, a pretty good sector 2, and now has he got enough battery to make it across the line for pole position? No, he hasn't. 6/10 down in the final sector. No battery there whatsoever for the British driver. Charles Leclerc across the line, and he is 3.5 tenths back. It's second position for Charles Leclerc, but that's basically guaranteed P1 going in towards turn 1. Actually, it's not, because Lewis Hamilton has just picked his teammate. It is P2 for Lewis Hamilton, P3 for Charles Leclerc, and it looks like at the end of lap number 1, we're probably going to have a Ferrari 1-2. Let's see what George Russell is going to do. It looked like qualifying was totally and utterly over for him. His car had a gearbox issue, and it just was not switching on. But in a miracle of luck, he got it together, and now he's on his qualifying lap. He is well within margin to go for pole position here. Antonelli's first sector was just about as good as George Russell's first sector. Hadjar comes across the line. It's 7th for him. Verstappen improves, goes about half a tenth clear of Isaac Hadjar, but it's still not that big of a margin. 7th for Verstappen, 8th for Hadjar. Pierre Gasly is officially quicker in the Mercedes-powered Alpine, and now the only driver that we have got left to come across the line is George Russell. He is foot flat to the floor, approaching 330 kilometers per hour in that Mercedes. What speed is he going to set his cruise control at? It looks like it's going to be 320 as he comes down the main straight onto the brakes for turn number 14. And then what can he do? It looks very, very nice and tidy for George Russell. This is his first lap in Q3. Will he be able to beat his teammate? Across the line he comes. He cannot beat Kimi Antonelli. Antonelli gets his first ever pole position. Incredible job by him. George Russell P2. And we have got Hamilton P3, Charles Leclerc P4, Piastri 5th, Norris 6th. Gasly is in 7th, and then we've got Verstappen and Hadjar in 8th and 9th, and Ollie Behrman to round out the top 10. Kimi Antonelli has got pole position. Yeah, what a lap from Kimi. Russell couldn't match it, and solid job really from Kimi Antonelli. Russell also saved it right at the end of the day. And managed to bring it together, because starting in 10th position would have really hampered his race progress. And yeah, second position there for Russell. So just in the nick of time. Gasly out qualifying Max. Yeah, I mean, look at this, right? In the top 10, we have got 5 Mercedes-powered cars, and 3 Ferrari-powered cars, and 2 Red Bull-powered cars. That's how it goes. Okay, do you feel there'll be team orders if we put Russell in front? Nah, they're not doing team orders, not at race number 2. And they've also got to decide, are they going to do, is it going to be team, driver number 1, driver number 2, or are they going to have a Nico Rosberg versus Lewis Hamilton situation? That's going to be quite exciting to say the least. But to the old school 2x2x2, exactly. I mean, this is very much like 2018, to be honest with you guys. It is. We had a lot of Mercedes, Ferrari, and then Red Bull in 2018, and this time it is Mercedes, Ferrari, and McLaren. Ferrari 1-2 by T1. Yeah, I mean, it looked like in today's sprint race, both of the Mercedes still had no charge whatsoever at the end of the formation lap. Or maybe they had only a little bit, but the Ferraris just breezed past them like it was nothing. So maybe it'll be still a Ferrari 1-2 in towards turn number 1. Let's wait and see. And the other thing is, the gaps aren't that big. In Australia, we were all a little bit worried. We're like 7 tenths of a second. Oh my God, what's happened? But the gaps have reduced. It's down to 3.5 tenths between the Ferraris and the Mercs. Okay. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. Youngest pole sitter, eh? Oh, really? That's pretty good. Who had that stat before? Was it Seb Vettel that had the stat before with the youngest pole sitter, or was it or was it Max? I'm not sure. But incredible job there by Kimi Antonelli. All right, folks. So I shall see you all for the race tomorrow. So whatever time it is for the world, whatever time it is for you in the world right now, if you go back 1 hour and 4 minutes, that is when the race starts tomorrow. So I hope to see you there. I'm going to end the stream now. It'll take you over to the race stream. If you could just hit the like button if you haven't already, that'd much be appreciated. And also if you could hit the reminder button, that would be great. Yeah, there we go. All right, Seb had the previous youngest pole sitter. Nice. Okay, cool. Very nice. So I will see you in 23 hours for the start of the Chinese Grand Prix race. And, well, it's going to be quite exciting, especially with the Ferraris on the second row. Will they overtake the Mercedes again? Are we going to have a four-way fight for P1, just like we did have in Australia? Should be pretty good. All right, yeah, so I shall see you all tomorrow. Have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are around the world. Hit the like button for the race stream. Hit the reminder button as well. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm. And I shall see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.